Welcome back. Today we've got a lot of value for you. If you want goblin tactics, if you're trepidatious, if you're new to this type of game, or just want to get as much goddamn plunder as you can get, this video is for you. Me and my whole team have been going super hard to get you all the info. Today I'll be going from the basics through to play styles, maximizing plunder if that's what you want, buildcraft, and a whole bunch of miscellaneous tips and tricks that I think you're going to enjoy. So with that said, let's get stuck in. Big picture then, you want plunder, XP, and abilities. XP comes from defeating mobs and picking up plunder, and as you level up, your health and basic attack damage will go up. Abilities are picked up off the floor with 2 offensive slots and 2 utility slots. You can just click on an ability to pick it up, or you can hit the F key, and that will do it without you having to move your mouse. This is extremely useful, and you can also use that for, say, opening chests and that kind of thing. Now, you rank up your abilities by collecting dupes. Also, elites can drop higher ranking abilities, and you can be opening chests, including the epic magical chests, which will often have an epic ability. Now, as you rank up your abilities, they will do more damage, and they'll also have a reduced cooldown, which is so major. Also, if you want to swap one of your 2 abilities within a category, you can change which one will be swapped by hitting the tab key. It's a little fiddly initially, but once you got the basics here, you'll be completely solid. On top of that, you've got your single item slot. These can really be game changers. Even things like using the barrel you spawn with for an escape, using it to get to a juicy elite a bit quicker, or to a chest is a really strong opening move, but we'll talk about that stuff in more detail later. Next, let's talk about the maps. So, Arathi Basin features some big, densely populated points of interest, like the Circle of Elements, Stromgard, and the various different settlements. These are definitely higher risk, higher reward. If you're not feeling super confident in the mode, I would avoid them right now and just focus on getting the basics right. And of course, as is the genre norm, the storm will close in and kind of gather people together. Now, let's talk about UI and keybind stuff. There's actually no UI customization, but I do actually have some tweaks. So, number 1, circle strafing is extremely important when you're playing, right? All of the abilities in this version of WoW are kind of like not the normal. They basically operate more like a MOBA, so whenever you hit the attack key, your character will do an attack, and anything hit by your attack gets hit. It's not really tab targeting. Because of that, I find I'm often circle strafing in order to maximize the damage I'm doing while minimizing the damage that I'm taking. And that's quite uncomfortable with the default keybind. So personally, I bound it to the side button of my mouse, and I found that to be so much more comfortable. Also, I do like to toggle large nameplates as well. Okay, with that said, let's have a chat about Plunder. So Plunder progresses us through the entire event, and it's way faster to get than we were initially led to believe. People were estimating 30 or 40 hours of total game time. I'll say my first 2 hours got me 8,000 plunder, which I felt pretty good about. The total amount of plunder to hit by the end of this event is 100,000. So basically, within 2 hours, I was 8% of the way there, and as of the time of recording this video, I'm further on ahead as well. But what's really key about plunder is understanding how it's actually given to you. If you know that, you can focus your efforts on what will get you plunder. Number 1, you'll get an objective every match. Completing this objective is worth 800 plunder the first time you do it in a day, and 250 after. You should absolutely focus on this, and if you do that, you'll get plenty of plunder. Even in my bad games, I'm getting like 450. And the good news about these objectives is they take like less than a minute to complete. I mean, I got one to kill an elite, and I just dropped on it, it died, and I got the plunder. So if you purely care about plunder, the most important thing that you can do is complete your objective, because the thing that will basically waste you time is the timer before a match starts. So, don't die early, focus on that initial objective, and if you can't win a fight, retreat. You don't have to take every fight. This will get you an amazing baseline amount of plunder, but what if you want more plunder? Or what if you don't want to focus on the PvP side of this game mode? Let's talk about maximizing plunder then. Stay around the outside of the map if you want to maximize your plunder. You're a PvE focused player and you're not feeling particularly comfortable about this. Stay close to the edge of the map and focus on defeating mobs and looting chests. I often find loads of free pickings around the outskirts. You can also then pick up evasive abilities, move speed ones when you can. These will be great because you can escape fights, so you avoid the other players, and you go and get plunder instead. And it will make traveling between mobs faster. Less time walking, more time killing, more plunder. Your AoE offensives can be amazing here for clearing mobs. You can absolutely melt massive packs of them with Star Bomb, Fire Whirl, Searing Axe, and so on. Doing this will maximize your plunder. It really is just getting used to the playstyle. And the nice side thing is this will also level up your character quickly. So this is also a pretty good general strategy for playing this game if you're just starting out. Because of course, as you level up, you'll be stronger. And if you kind of picked up on it, this is all about having a positive feedback loop. Get more power, get more speed, so you can more quickly get more power. Basically, it's the snowballing analogy. One thing you might be wondering is, victory, do I need to win? Well, here's what happens if you come first. You get a buff, and that makes your character wear a winner's tabard and eye patch. But the thing is, though, to unlock those for your Dragonflight character, you need to hit Renown level 38 and 40. Now that will be very easy across 6 weeks, and what's nice here is it means you can get all of the rewards without needing to focus on a PvP victory. I know for a lot of World of Warcraft players that is a pretty major thing. Before we get into some more technical aspects, and I think where for most of you a lot of the value in this video will be, I want to talk about mindset. Look, this is not a hyper-competitive sweat fest. Dying literally doesn't matter. You can re-queue instantly. Think of this as fun bullshit with no real death penalty, just a casual, fun-first mindset. I think so many WoW players are nearly afraid of PvP just as a concept, but the thing is, this is nothing like WoW PvP where you're worrying about so many classes, so many specs, so many cooldowns, such a high APM, all the add-ons you can need. None of that is present here. It is way more casual and approachable than I think PvP would normally make people think. The next section then is Buildcraft, and after that I'm going to go through all the little tips and tricks that we've mined out of it from playing. I do want to say, content on our channel has been a little bit thin this first quarter of the year. Right now we've got so many videos in production, though. We are going to be going really hard for the War Within. So a massive thank you to everybody who supports us at bellular.games. Over there, you guys get the Lore Walking podcast, you get early access to our videos, you get our videos ad-free, and a lot of us right now are hanging out on our members' Discord. It's been very cool seeing our community just smash into this new feature. Okay, Buildcraft, let's go. In games like this, it's all about thinking on the fly. You do not get to control what drops you get, but you've just got to focus on building a good, well-rounded kit. Often having an escape, a stun, a big DPS source, and a finisher to secure your kills is key. I'll start with my favorite offensive picks. So, Fire Whirl, we've all seen it. This is arguably a little bit overpowered right now. I would not be surprised if Blizzard perhaps nerfed its cooldown. Anyway, it does great damage, and it's very easy to use. It's great in AoE fights, it's great in single target fights, great at clearing mobs, and it has move speed. It is absolutely amazing. Another great pick is Storm Archon. This one just adds reliability because it is multicast. So for one invocation of its cooldown, you get multiple casts. That's really good for keeping your opponents on their toes, and it lets you chip away some damage. It's also great for mob clearing, and it's got a surprisingly high range. The other ability for me that is a massive pick if you want to focus on PvP is Rhyme. Initially, you may pick it up and think its damage is low, and it's not that good. But hell no, it never misses. And this makes it terrific at securing kills, amazing at kiting enemies, and just chipping away damage, and very importantly, interrupting heals. Also, by the time it's upgraded to Epic, it has a 4 or 5 second long cooldown. As an example, my very first win of this game mode, I would say was hands down because I was good at keeping my opponent at range, juking him, and then chipping away using Rhyme. I think it's the most impactful ability if you play around it. That being said, you really do feel like an asshole when you're using it. Usually I will take Rhyme and then one other reliable damage source, perhaps something like Fire Whirl. I mean, often people will end a Fire Whirl with pretty low HP, they'll use an escape. You can just look at them, fire a Rhyme, and they're dead. It's amazing, but it feels pretty dirty. As for other ones, well, I think that the abilities I've talked about so far are the absolute best. I will say though that Holy Shield and Mana Sphere are really solid, especially if you develop great game sense, and also they can be fantastic for catching somebody by surprise if, by analyzing their movements, you don't think they quite know that you're in range, or that you even see them. Also, if you spam the Holy Shield button, it will immediately cast its AoE pulse. That actually means it's pretty okay in melee, and it's pretty forgiving. You, of course, can use it to interrupt people's heals, and that's pretty handy here because the heal slows down your opponent when it's being used, which makes this a fairly easy skill shot to hit, though of course, it's no rhyme. And as for Mana Sphere, I'd say that yes, you can charge it up. Charging up is great, it increases the projectile size, but it doesn't increase the damage. And I often find people do not expect you to just pop it off instantly, even when it's small, it'll still do full damage. Let's talk about utility then. My absolute favorites are Windstorm and Steel Trap. Basically, if you can get any crowd control in your enemies, it's amazing, it can secure kills, it makes for an incredible opener as well. So I'd very much go with one of those. As an example, so many people are using the Firewhirl right now. Well, if people are Firewhirling, you can throw down the Steel Trap. It's a really, really good counter to currently what is one of the, the most powerful things in the game. Fade to Shadow is then a really nice escape. I actually find there's times I've been able to fade to shadow, so I'm stealthed, and then do an opener in somebody where they don't expect it. You could even combine that with, say, a Windstorm. It would be pretty sweet. Also, Quaking Leap is, if you can aim it, great as an opener, it's great as an escape, and it's great for movement speed. Big picture though, just about all of these can fit into your playstyle if you understand their strengths and their weaknesses, and especially if you get them decently ranked up. These are just the ones that I found the most reliable amount of success with. And that's why I want to talk again about Firewhirl, because one of the reasons why it's seen as the best is not just that it does damage, it's that it's so easy to use. And that reliability is the best way for most people to increase their overall rate of success in a game like this. To borrow a phrase I've heard from StarCraft 2, offense wins games, defense wins tournaments, which is basically to say, there are skills that can secure you kills, those are important, but your ability to deal with bullshit and to perform at an averagely good level over a course of time, that's what wins you the tournament. Of course, that doesn't map on one-to-one here as an analogy, but I think there's a really strong principle in it. As for other abilities, I think that Starbomb and Searing Axe can be amazing or useless, depending on how you use them. I mean, Starbomb is amazing damage. What I love about it, though, is area denial. That can be really damn strong. Or, of course, if you have Windstorm and then you see a Starbomb, you could think about trying to combine those things. That's the kind of on-the-fly buildcraft that is essentially a skill, a sort of game sense that you'll develop as you keep on playing. Another thing I would consider is melee, hybrid, or ranged. What do you actually like? As an example, if I get Hunter's Chains and I've already got Firewhirl, Searing Axe, Starbomb, or Steel Trap, then I'll probably go for a hyper-aggro melee build, perhaps a little bit inspired by playing Red Mage in FF14's PvP. So that's the kind of skill set that you'll just build up over time. Next, I want to do some quick fire tips. These things will help you. Number 1, rank matters humongously. Yes, everything I said about Buildcraft applies, but if you've got a common versus an epic, the epic will do more damage, and its cooldown will be way, way, way shorter. Next, focus on situational awareness. This is one of the big game skills that will help you so much here. After any major engagement where you've made yourself visible, just swirl around your camera. As an example, Flame Whirl can be seen for miles around, so if you've used that, you absolutely want to do a quick little check to make sure you're not going to be ambushed. My next point goes along with the game sense one pretty well, and that is use heal early, use it often. Don't do the normal role-playing game thing of only, saving your potion for when you absolutely need it. No, they're rechargeable. As long as you're fairly sure you're not going to be ganked, just use that damn thing and keep your health topped up at all times. Next, think about how you're going to be weaving healing into your duels with other players. So, if you get an ability like, say, Steel Trap, or maybe you have the Big Jump, those are amazing times that you can go and heal. And as an example, if you are coming up against an opponent who's using Rhyme on you, that's definitely a time to think about if you can escape, because Rhyme will be able to interrupt your heal, and if your opponent is really quick in that, you'll get barely any value from it. I'd say that in my experience, creating for yourself the openings to go and do a quick mid-fight heal, that is absolutely key, one of the most vital skills to do well if you want to focus on the PvP side. Next, use your time well. Look, playing footsies with another player for 60 seconds is probably not worth it at the start of a game. Usually in those cases, I just disengage, I run away like a big coward, and I focus on resources. Because when I see that guy again, I want to have more XP, I want to have better abilities, and I don't want it to be a fair fight. Because that ain't what this game mode is about. And that brings me to being a vulture. This is one of the most important things. You see, your situational awareness is not just a defensive thing. You want to use it to be a vulture, to be a scavenger. scavenge abilities left over from fallen enemies. Especially I find in the mid game, this is a really strong way to just beef out your build. Can be really good. Think of corpses like, a trip to your local shop. Next, mouse over tooltips. This is major. So ability icons only appear when you get close to them. Blizzard probably did this just to make sure that the game wasn't just a massive sea of icons. But whatever you do, just mouse over them before the icon appears. If you do that, the tooltip will tell you what the ability is. This is just one of those things. It can save you 5 seconds here, 10 seconds there, and across an entire game, that can really add up. Dive bombing. Let's talk about how we actually open our games. So, whenever you spawn in, generally speaking, you want to dive bomb straight down vertically as quickly as you can, because if you hit the ground before other players, well, maybe you can loot that chest, do whatever you need to do. Even if it's only a few seconds of a difference, that could be the difference between you actually having 1 or 2 abilities whenever you enter your first fight. That can be pretty big. The next part of this is to take a look at your minimap as soon as you begin your dive bombing. The reason why is after a few seconds, the elite mob markers will appear there. So obviously try to land on the elite mobs when you're dive bombing. It does so much damage that it will in fact kill an elite instantly, giving you a massive head start with your XP and your abilities. Go hard, just go wild into it. Once you get comfortable with other players, go hog wild, go aggro, and actually start to pressure other people. As soon as I get Rhyme, like if I get Rhyme early on in a game, I will be trying to get near people and just chip away at them until I get an opening. Basically, if you can get comfortable being the person on offense, then you're going to be creating more opportunities for yourself. Most people will probably do best by doing a great job of scavenging and picking up items and killing mobs. If, though, you really feel confident in your skills, you can snowball hard early on, you can end up being a few levels ahead of other people, and to be honest, it's really fun. It's a great way to get the blood pumping. And the other side for me is to go greedy. PvE mobs do barely any damage, and if you circle strafe, you'll pretty much avoid all of it. And that basically means pull like absolute mad. If you do that, you will find yourself out-leveling all the competition most of the fights. If people are generally a higher level than you whenever you are bumping into them, that probably says you just need to focus on your basics, focus on farming. It's a little bit like in, StarCraft 2 or something, you can go all crazy with your pylon rushes and your cheese, but at the end of the day, just playing the basics really well, that's going to get you. Overall, that's been my experience with this. This is not an extremely hardcore version of a Battle Royale. It really is just more of a quick fun thing. When you actually look at the core game design here, look at how you don't actually have gear for your characters. You don't have different weapons you can equip for, your basic sort of ability set. This is definitely designed to be a sort of a fun 6-week thing. That being said, it does seem that with a lot of the mechanics they've developed here, there could be a lot of potential in the future, and obviously not just for Battle Royale and not just for PvP. I think there's a hell of a lot of potential in this, so let me know how your progress has been. If you are wanting some more general World of Warcraft content, we'll be going into everything we know about Season 4 and all of that stuff this coming Saturday, and between a big research video on the state of Mythic Plus, and between a big research video on the state of Mythic Plus, multiple big lore projects, we're really working hard, and there'll be a lot of great stuff coming. So I hope this video has provided you some value. Me and the team love putting it together. I'll see you back in the channel later.